All right, we're going to read more of Story Thieves. We're on chapter 20. Here we go. Who are you? Charm said, her ray guns powered up and ready to fire. How had she seen through his disguise? What was going on here? I'm Kel Nomanfoot, Charm, he said, holding his hands up in surrender. Are you? She said, her weirdly cute robot eyes staring right through him. You haven't been the same since I found you in the Magister's tower. You're not acting like your usual self. The cat's ignored you completely, instead of hanging on your shoulder like it usually does. You're not worried about Magisteria being attacked. She frowned. Also, that spellbook is trying to eat your hand. What? This? Owen said, frantically trying to shove the book off of himself. This is just a difference of opinion. Scientific method, Charm said to her ship. Scan him against all known records of Kel Nomanfoot, down to the quantum level. Show me the results on screen. The view screen changed from an empty space outside to an X-ray kind of image of Owen's body. He immediately dropped his hands to cover anything embarrassing, but it didn't seem to help. Stop it, he shouted, trying to stay calm, but not succeeding at all. I'm really Kel. Quiz me. I can answer anything. There's no need, Charm said, her ray gun still aimed at him. The scan will cover it. His eyes flashed to the screen as his empty body began to fill up like a countdown. Remember, when we found the first key back beneath 20 tons of dragon's gold using that electromagnet of yours? You said that gold isn't magnetic, but the iron key would be. That's how we found it. The real Kill never listened to what I said in his entire life, Charm told him, especially not about science. We went to the future. You ate a rat by accident. I had to use your arm as a wand once. In that alternate reality where magic was science. You get annoyed by everything I say, but secretly I make you laugh. You do what? Her eyes narrowed and her fingers tightened on the trigger. I do. You hate to admit it, but I've seen it. Name one time, she said, as the view screen showed the scan just about finished. Owen's mind raced frantically through the books. It was a huge part of their friendship and came up at least once a book. Why couldn't he remember a single? The ruins of that magical school, he shouted. Remember? I said something like, I guess school's out, and you snorted. Okay, it's not really a laugh, but it's pretty close. And I bet you thought it was funnier than you let on. You'd lose that bet, Charm said, just as the scanner chimed. Looks like the results are in. Move even an inch and you get rayed. Owen watched her glance over the scan results, his eyes wide. Could he cast a spell? Not without the spell book, which still hadn't let go of his hand. But if he got called out on not being the real Kel in front of everyone reading this book, it'd change the whole story, and Bethany would kill him. Not to mention the fact that Charm might shoot him. Charm raised her eyes from the screen. This is interesting, she said. Apparently, you're allergic to peanuts. Then she slowly lowered her ray guns. Something's off. The scientific method claims you're Kel down to your core, but I'm not sure. Owen let out a huge breath. But it's science, so you have to believe it. The computer said so. I'm Kel. I'm just acting weird because of, the Magister. I'm sad. She gave him a careful look. The ship's never been wrong before, but I'm going to keep an eye on you. And if you keep messing up, scan or not, I'm leaving you on some deserted planet until I find the seventh key. There's no time for grieving. Get it together. We've got a war to win. Owen dropped his hands, wanting to laugh or shout or just pump his fist in an awesome victory celebration. The scan hadn't seen through his disguise. Apparently, magic was a lot more thorough than he'd thought. For a moment there, he'd actually been worried she was going to shoot him, and suddenly everything had seemed a lot less fun. But he had to remember that as far as the book was concerned, he really was Kel Foot, and that meant nothing really bad was going to happen to him. The hero always made it through. You did laugh at the school comment, he told her, his heart slowing back down to normal. Prove it, she said, sitting back down in the pilot's seat. Repairs are just about through. Are you ready to go on? Or do you want to talk more about your feelings or something dumb? I just miss him, Owen told her. The whole thing just really threw me. It'd throw you anyone, even unfeeling half robots. One of her hands rested on her ray gun again. I can still shoot you, you know. He smiled, hoping she was kidding. I'm sure he's still out there somewhere, maybe in some other world, watching over us, reading about our adventure, so proud that we are saving the world. Or maybe on his way back with Bethany and nobody. What was taking them so long anyway? Charm snorted. No one would bother reading about us. We never do anything exciting. We just save ourselves from a whole bunch of attacking spaceships. She shrugged, turned back to her pilot controls in midair. I guess we have different ideas of exciting. Now, where is this seventh key? The Magister said that we had to go somewhere he called the original computer, and that'd tell us more about it, Owen said. What? Charm said, spinning around. No, not the original computer. That's a bad idea. Why? Owen asked. It can't be worse than almost getting blown up by science soldiers' ships. It can and will. Owen shook his head. That's where the Magister said to go, and he spent last year looking for even this much information. Charm growled in frustration. This is such a bad idea. Promise me that you'll do everything I say when I say it while we're in there, or I leave you here. Got it? Gotten, he told her. Why is this place so bad? You'll see, she said, then touched the panel in front of her, sliding something off of it. Here. She held out one finger to him. Put this in. He bent forward and stared at the tip of her finger, where a tiny, almost microscopic square of metal lay. Owen touched one finger to hers, pushed down, and took the metal square up off her finger. What am I doing with this? Other than losing it? Don't lose it, she told him. Plug it into your brainstem and we'll get going. He blinked. Into who? Into my who? Char sighed. Charm sighed. Do you have Do I have to do everything for you? Here. She turned him around until his back was to her, then pushed his hair up over his neck. It's right, huh? What's right, huh? You don't have a brainstem input, she grunted. You people are so backward. Since when am I supposed to have a brainstem input? And since you were born, how do you ever learn anything without just plugging it right into your brainstem for uploading? It's a rough life, he told her. So what was that thing supposed to do? We have to get into the original computer, she told him. And that means we need to become something that'll actually exist within it. That takes digital avatars. This chip was supposed to connect you directly to the ship's computer, which will download everything about you and spit out your avatar into the network. The what? It really is like talking to a child, isn't it? The network, short for internal network. It's what connects the citizens of Quanitarium to every computer on the planet. Owen gave her a confused look. Don't you mean internal network? The internet? The network. It's not complicated. Even when she was annoyed, Owen just wanted to do things for her. Maybe clean her ray guns or give her an upgraded arm as a present or something. Okay, the now work. So how do I get in then? She shrugged. The chip's going to need to get into your brain one way or another. I guess we'll have to do some surgery. Owen laughed. Charm didn't. Owen laughed again, just to see if she needed some encouragement. Apparently, that wasn't the problem. He tried one more laugh and she slapped his face. No, he said. Sit down, she told him, pushing him into one of the chairs seats. Don't be such a baby. It's not being a baby not to want you doing surgery on me. I won't be the one doing it, she said, then tapped something in the air. The chair's arms spit out straps that covered Owen's wrists, then yanked them down, holding him still. He squirmed and tried to break free, but the chair wouldn't let him so much as move. Since when did this kind of thing happen in the Kel Noman Foot books? They were kids' books. Surgery? Charm, let me go. I don't want this. We'll figure out another way to get into the original computer. Like, say, use a keyboard and a monitor? Like a normal person? You sound like you're 2,000 years old when you talk like that, she said, then touched the air again, and his chair went shooting backward toward the wall. It slammed into a stop right before it hit, and the robotic arms popped out from the wall to hold his head in place. I'll magic you if you don't stop, Owen said. Charm, I can turn you into gold. I'm warning you. Kel, you have my word that if this hurts, I'll try to keep a straight face, she told him, then nodded at the robotic arms. Do it. The next 30 seconds were the weirdest of Owen's life. First, a fictional spaceship held him in place to give him brain surgery. Second, somehow he didn't actually feel a thing, not after an initial pinch in his neck, which was probably some kind of shot to numb it. Despite all his screaming, the arms quickly released him and he jumped up from the chair, frantically tugging at his neck. Ah, he shouted. There's a thingy there now. And there was. The ship had implanted some kind of thingy right into his neck. I'd hope so. That was the whole point, Charm said. Now we can get going. That was the worst thing anyone's ever done to me, Owen said, pointing a finger at her accusingly. She smacked his finger aside. If it is, be thankful. He made a face, gently touching the uploader thing on the back of his neck. At least that's the worst part done. I guess it wasn't so bad. That, Charm snorted. That was the easy part. The worst part's coming next. And with that, she turned him around again. She touched the tiny circuit to his neck and pushed. Something clicked. And just like that, the world turned to digital billboards, millions of glowing people, and Tron. End of chapter.